Let us hear a few thoughts on contentment by Swami Kriyananda. Contentment has been said to be the supreme virtue. Contentment means living to the fullest the good of every passing moment. Above all, it means living behind the present moment in the eternal now. How much is lost in life by people who perennially wish things other than they are, who complain unceasingly and tell themselves that the world owes them more than it is giving them. We must smile inwardly with God, knowing that life is His dream. Contentment is the surest way of drawing the very best out of every circumstance. Let us do the following affirmation a few times, first loudly, then softly, and then mentally. Through life's mightiest storms, I am contented, for I hold in my heart God's peace. Through life's mightiest storms, I am contented, for I hold in my heart God's peace. Through life's mightiest storms, I am contented, for I hold in my heart God's peace. Through life's mightiest storms, I am contented, for I hold in my heart God's peace. Mentally follow this affirmation and be aware in your heart as the peace descends and fills it. Through life's mightiest storms, I am contented, for I hold in my heart God's peace. Mentally follow this prayer. Lord, as you live eternally at rest in yourself, so let me live also, contented ever, that I may be worthy of living in your joy. Om, peace. Amen. So friends, welcome again. And as you can see, the topic for today's satsang is contentment, the supreme virtue. As we go on this journey from discontentment to contentment, let me begin with a story. So once upon a time, a fisherman was sitting by his boat and he was playing with a child. A rich businessman was walking past and he also wanted to sit by the sea for some time. So sitting by the sea, he was looking at the fisherman playing with the little boy, and he remarked to the fisherman, why don't you go out fishing into the sea? The fisherman said, I've had enough catch for the day. I do not need any more. So the businessman remarked, but do you know if you go out again, you'll be able to catch a bigger load of fish? And the fisherman said, but then what will happen? He said, then once you have more fish, then you can earn more money out of it. And then over a period of time, maybe you can, buy a bigger boat. And then the fisherman said, then what? He said, once you have the bigger boat, then you will be able to go into the deeper sea. And in the deeper sea, you will have a greater load of fish to catch. And then selling that, you will become richer. And once you are richer, you can even buy a nylon net and then go again into the sea and catch lots and lots of fish. And the fisherman is very interested listening to all this and says, okay, sir, then what will happen after that? He said, once you have enough money, then you can buy one more boat. And again, you can buy a bigger boat and more nylon nets, and you can catch more and more fish. And then once that happens, you can even own a fleet of boats. And the fisherman again asked, okay, sir, then what will happen? Said, then like me, you will enjoy life. So the fisherman paused and he asked the businessman, sir, what do you think I am doing right now? And he smiled. And of course, the businessman understood. So here, what do we learn from this story? So it's a simple message. There is no connection between money, wealth, and contentment. Let me narrate another story to you. So this is a story of a stone cutter. This was a person who would cut down boulders and make smaller stones, and send them to either sculptors or send them for construction. So he was mainly, into stone cutting. So one day, as we all get bored with our jobs and we feel that, oh, how much duty we have to do. So he was in a similar state of mind and he was feeling frustrated with his job. And he was wondering that, daydreaming as to how wonderful it would be if he could be somebody else and not just this stone cutter. In the meantime, and because this stone cutter was a very good guy, he was a very decent fellow, a very prayerful person, a very sincere worker. Now, a couple of angels would always watch over him. So one day, as he was cutting stones, a merchant was passing by. And in his heart, the stonecutter thought, oh, how nice would it be if I would become a merchant. So the angels who were his friends, he did not know, but yes, they were always around him. And so they somehow managed to make a merchant out of him. So he became a merchant. And as he had now a better house to live, better clothes to wear, and better food to eat, he started to enjoy his life until one day he was invited to a fair in the king's kingdom. And once when he went there and he saw the glory of the king, then he thought to himself, oh, wouldn't it be nice if I could become a king? And of course, the angel friends made him a king one day. And so he became this king of this large kingdom, and his glory increased. Now his house was a palace, his robes were royal robes of silk, and he had ornaments, and he had people around him listening to him. So all the glory that the king has. And then one day he was sitting in his gardens and he was looking up at the sun. And then he wondered to himself, oh, this sun is so magnanimous. Its light is so great. Its warmth is so nice. It is so much more powerful than I am. Wouldn't it be nice if I could become the sun? So the angels thought for a while, but they said, okay, we can do this. And so they made him into the sun. So now he's shining bright, giving light and warmth to planet Earth. So he's very, very happy and he's shining in his own glory until one day a cloud obstructs his light going onto the earth. And suddenly he's suddenly aware that yes, I am powerful and I'm glorious, but this cloud appears to be more powerful than I. It can cut off my light going to the earth. So wouldn't it be nice if I could become a cloud? So the angel said, lo, okay, so this person became a cloud. Now he's happy as a cloud, white and snowy and beautiful and happy, and then showering his, power as rain over the earth. And then one day a strong gust of wind blew and the cloud was pushed away. So the cloud thought, this wind appears to be more powerful than I. Wouldn't it be nice if I could become the wind? And the angel said, Lord, so be it. So then he became the wind and he flew here and there and he danced and he went up and down in all directions as free as the air. And he was happy doing that. But one day he felt that he is being obstructed by something. On observation, he found that a large mountain was obstructing his path. So he thought, oh, it appears that this mountain is much stronger than I am. Wouldn't it be nice if I could become a mountain? And the angel said, so be it. And so he became this large mountain. And of course, he was happy in his glory as a large mountain. He thought that he's the most powerful thing and that nothing can be, fall short now. Nothing can be hazardous to his presence now. And then suddenly one day came a stone cutter and started to chisel on the mountain. And then he thought, oh, this stone cutter has power over me. He can cut through me. He can break me. So probably he is more powerful than I am. Wouldn't it be nice if I became the stone cutter? And lo and behold, the guy came back into being a stone cutter. So what is the moral of the story? The moral of the story is that firstly, desires are unending and they are never satisfying and fulfilling. The second thing that we learn is that when we see life from different perspectives, it is only then that we appreciate our own life and our own talents. And this does not mean that we have to wish to be a businessman, that we wish that, I want to live the life of a millionaire. I want to live the life of a perfectly intellectual person. I want to be a research scientist. I want to be the best artist, the best musician. Master said, if you have all these wishes and you want to see life from these perspectives, it will take you lifetimes of roaming into this world of Maya. If you are a wise person, you will look around you and you will follow these people who have these qualities already. So a person who's a billionaire, a person who is the best artist, a person who is the best research scientist, follow their lives, and you will observe that even having whatever they had, they are still not contented in themselves. They are still not satisfied and fulfilled in themselves. The third thing that we learn here is that it clearly depicts that contentment does not come from outer things and belongings and possessions. It is an inner quality that we have. Now, even if we were not to talk about these stories, which we can relate to in our lives, but there is something closer to our heart that we do on a daily basis that tells us how dissatisfied we remain in our life. And just think of yourself going on a vacation. So you've gone on a vacation and you see a beautiful scenery. You quickly take out your phone camera and you click an amazing picture. And at night in the hotel room, when you are checking out the picture, you look at the picture and you say, oh, this picture does not seem to be doing justice to the real scene. Now, let me tell you, no camera photograph is going to ever do justice to God's painting as nature in reality. But you wonder at your picture and you say, maybe if I had a better camera, then, my picture would be better. So what do you do? So as soon as I get back to my work, I'm going to work a little harder and, I'm going to buy a better phone with a better camera. So that's what you do. And then, of course, once you have that, are you satisfied? No, because next year iPhone 16 comes, the next year iPhone 17 will come. So we'll always be looking at some new technology. Same for TV sets, for laptops, for cars, for houses, for dresses. So this is an endless flow which will grab you, it will take you, it will pull you, it will drown you in its whirlpool and shall never satisfy you. All these desires are like that mirage in the desert where when you look from a distance, you think that water of the mirage will quench your thirst. But when you reach there, you find that it is delusion and the mirage has receded and you want to follow that further. So this is the way that desires function. And then we are always discontented. Before we can actually move to how we can be contented, let us also analyze various situations which cause our discontentment. And when I say that we are discontented, it simply means that we are not happy in the present situation. So let us check within ourselves. Are we happy right now, right here? If not, then what is the problem? What is it? So let us just check out a little list, and in your mind, you can tick to your own causes of discontentment. That means being not happy right now. And of course, the first cause would be an unmet desire or an unmet need. The second would be maybe you have lost something precious in your life. And this could be your job, your financial situation, your name, your fame, or even a lovely person from your life. And having lost that, you feel that there is a gap in my life and you long to fill that. And therefore, you are unhappy in the present moment. Another reason for discontentment is our nearsightedness. So by nearsightedness, I mean is that when we are in a midst of a difficulty or a challenge in life or a not so comfortable time in our life, then we cease to look at the larger picture, at the larger divine plan, and we think that our life is unworthy, it is filled with darkness. We forget that the God has always had good plans for us, and there will be light at the end of the tunnel. And of course, we do not wait for that light to come to us. We try to also create life in ourselves, and we try to do all the positive things that will create that light. Another reason for our discontentment is our own faulty belief pattern. And what do I mean when I say faulty belief pattern is that I in my own mind, I have expectations from this universe. In my own mind, I think that this universe or the people of this world, they owe me much more than I deserve. And this is again a self-imagined situation, because if you were to truly ask yourself, does anybody really owe me anything? The answer is no. Why should anybody owe you anything? If you are doing good to them, it is for your own self, because that is going to expand your consciousness, that is going to uplift your consciousness. That is why you are choosing to be good. Why do you want others to behave just like you are behaving? And that also we are imagining that we are being good and the other person is not being good. So it is very important that we put aside all expectations from this world. And as we learned in the story, that anything outside us is not going to make us fulfilled. It's going to be within ourselves. Another reason for being discontented is that we are so focused on the little egoic self, on the I, me, and mine, and that we are empty of God. When ego predominates, God escapes. When we bring God in our life, then ego escapes. So when we are so focused on what have I got, what is happening to me, what is my life, what do I want to do, and I don't even include other people's happiness in my own happiness, then that's a major cause of my unhappiness in this moment. And there is another important cause for this, and this cause is called God's grace. Now you may wonder, is God's grace causing us discontentment? Yes, at a lower level of truth, it sometimes does. Why? So sometimes we have created lives for ourselves in which we are in a comfortable zone and we are pleased with our life, we are satisfied with what we have done, and we are just relaxing in that comfort zone. We are not putting out any extra energy, we are not causing our own soul evolution, and we are not trying to solve the purpose of our life. So in such a situation, God sometimes comes in the picture and he takes away your comfort. He takes away your pleasure, so that when that little gap is created in your heart, you will seek for him. And Jyotishji and Deviji always say this beautiful statement, which I genuinely am attracted to. It just resonates with me. It says, there is a hole in the heart that only God can fill. So yes, it is God's grace sometimes that difficulties will come into your life and that you have that thirst, the thirst to know the truth, the thirst to dissolve yourself in God's joy, to become one with that joy. So, we see that however much of our list of our bucket list we may tick. So we all have attainment lists and we keep ticking in our life. I've achieved this and that and this and that. And yet we still continue to feel fulfilled in our heart. And this is, it is the nature of the heart to go outside itself for fulfillment. So I'm remembering a story that I think it is given by Swamiji in Yogananda's book, Conversations with Yogananda. And it says Yogananda ji once asked a person who was very ambitious. He wanted to be very, very rich, and he wanted to be a millionaire, means $1 million he wanted to own. And since he was hardworking, he did work with that. He did a lot of hard work, and one day he did become a millionaire. So Yogananda ji then asked him, he said, now are you happy? Are you satisfied? He said, no, until I earn as much or more than my cousin who has $40 million, I am not going to be happy. So again, this is reflecting our normal state of mind. In fact, a survey was it was done in the US, and it included all sorts of people from all strata, from the poorest to the richest. And a question was asked to them as to were they happy and satisfied with what they had. And their answer was that we would be happier if we had 10% more of what we have. All of them had pretty much the same answer. So again, this is the situation of our life. So now let us examine, what do we really mean by contentment when we are talking of inner joy right now? So contentment, that's what Swami says. Contentment is the feeling of fulfillment and inner joy in this moment, right now, right here. It is a calm acceptance of the reality of your present life. It is an appreciation of what you already have. So please check in yourself. Are you happy? Are you appreciating? Means, are you in gratitude? Do you feel fulfilled? Or what is your direction? And let me tell you that contentment does not mean an absence of ambition. It just means that you have enough trust in life, in the flow of life, and in God, that you know that whatever turn your life will take will be for the good. To differentiate or a balance, to create a balance between contentment and ambition, I was reading up and I found this beautiful prayer by King Solomon, and I will just read it out to you. King Solomon prays, "Two things I ask of you. Deny them not to me before I die. Remove far from me falsehood and lying. Give me neither poverty nor riches. Feed me with food that is needful for me, my portion, lest I be full and deny you and say, 'Who is the Lord?' Or lest I be poor and steal and thereby disrespect the name of my God." So this can be considered as a great balance between contentment and ambition, where the king is praying that neither keep me very poor, because if I become very poor and I will feel slighted and I may want to steal and I may even want to justify my act of stealing. On the other hand, if I become very rich, then there is a high chance that I may forget you, my Lord, and may say, "Who are you, my Lord?" Because I'm in my own comfort zone. So keep me in the middle. And similar is a Doha by Sant Kabir Das ji. And I'm sure we've all heard this. And it says, "Sai itna dijiye, jame kutum samaye, मैं भी भूखा ना रहूं, साधु ना भूखा जाए." So here Kabir Das ji is praying to the Lord, "Give me enough, Lord, that enough for me and my family, that I can eat well and no saint or guest coming to my house goes without being fulfilled with food." Hey, that is the perfect requirement. And why is that the perfect requirement? Because once we have, sufficiently provided for ourselves in terms of material needs, in terms of food, in terms of residence, in terms of clothing, which are basic to human life, once we have done that, then if we still keep our mind and body and time being occupied in the pursuit of more and more of this, so we'll either want more of this or we want a variety of this. This is, we know, an endless striving. And if we are busy with that, then how will we attain the purpose of life? How will we go into God's bliss? And therefore, we should know when sufficient is sufficient. And where do we go from here? Do I use my time and energy in the material pursuit continuously? Or do I, now once having fulfilled my responsibilities, now do I transmute that energy and evolve my own mind, use it as spiritual energy, and bring myself to unison with God? Now, this is each person's choice, and this free choice will have to be, enacted upon, worked upon by each person himself. The scriptures can show you the way, the guru can come and show you the way, can give you teachings and techniques, but it is going to be moment by moment your choice. What is the direction of your life? Is it going towards God and therefore joy and contentment? Or is it going away from God into pursuit of material things and some people? And then you will know how expansive you feel when you take either of these directions. So choose wisely and choose moment by moment. In the commentary of the Bhagavad Gita, Master says that although this gulf of transcending the ego and becoming one with God may appear to be big, but every minute, every moment that you practice by meditating, by reducing the restlessness of your mind, every moment that you practice with self-effort, you want to increase your energy, you want to be in the company of people who are going towards truth. Every moment that you spend in the right way, in the right direction, is going to lay the foundation for you on which you can erect the building of self-realization. So don't think one moment, what can one moment do? Even one single effort of keeping yourself in a meditative pose and trying to focus your energy is helpful. Even one kind act in the world is helpful. One act of love to your brothers and sisters is helpful. One control over your senses is helpful. One control over the vices in your mind like jealousy, envy, hatred, every little contributory factor that you can bring into your spiritual life is going to eventually lead you to that, to be one with the ocean of bliss. So do not think that, I will start to meditate next year or maybe next week or next month or once I'm retired and once this particular project is finished and so on and so forth. Just like the mirage receding, all these things will keep receding and they will keep inviting you to get involved into material pursuits. So tell yourself firmly and strictly, pause. Ask yourself, what is it that I really want from this life? And the answer is common for 8 billion people on this planet. We all want happiness. And not only happiness, we want ever increasing happiness. We want lasting happiness. We want unconditional happiness. And that is what is contentment. And we want it right now. And if this is what we want, then we have to organize our life according to this goal. We have to take this direction and not do what is in the reverse direction. Okay, so now let's talk how we can increase this contentment in our life. And let us know that we are not like completely born contented. It is a virtue that has to be attained and trained, and self-control has to be practiced over a period of lifetime. So what can we do to move in the direction of contentment? And the first and the simplest thing is to simplify your life. Do not go for unnecessary necessities. Go only with what you really need. Because as we said earlier, you must have free time and energy and ambition towards God to be able to go in this direction. So declutter your life, declutter your mind, be joyful and joyous in simplicity. And then appreciate whatever you have, whatever comfortable situation you are in, whatever things and people you have in your life. Appreciate that. Thank God for those. And then ask God, what, where, and what should I do to increase my energy and concentration and love towards you, my Lord. And the Guru has come in our life for this very reason, to introduce us to God and tell us how we can use the available energy and this life that we have got from God. Once we do that, we can do, there are certain other things that we can do to increase our contentment. And one is an affirmation. So every time you feel that you lack something, immediately affirm for adequacy and abundance. Say that I have adequate for my needs and I'm abundantly rich. I'm rich in love. I'm rich in friends. I may be rich in money as well. I'm rich in talents. God, as thy child, I am rich. Because you are rich, I am thy child. I am rich because I can access this infinite bank of happiness anytime that I want. And by the grace of the Guru, we will be able to do so. So affirm adequacy, affirm abundance. And then when we are moving in this world, we sometimes go to the market and we are like watching some objects here and there, and our heart kind of just leaps out to the object. I want this, I want that. So you want to grab that object. So if you are a yogi, then you will exercise a certain amount of self-control. And when the heart wants to leap out onto the object of the world, you will tell yourself that I already have these objects at home. I have no need. There is no real need for this object. And I bring that leaping energy and heart out of me, and I bring it back and keep it back in my center. And this is a great practice of self-control. If you keep doing that, if you keep telling yourself where and how you are going to invest your energy and keep it with you and raise it with meditation, you will find that it is easy to practice contentment. But the basic underlying thing is you have to be alert. You have to know, that right now my heart wants to grab something. Let me bring it back. Unless you are alert and you are casual about your emotions and thoughts, they are going to just run amok and take you outside of yourself. And in contentment, we want to be within ourselves. Another thing that can help you is to help others. So include in your happiness, you must include other people's happiness. When you pray, do not say, God, give me joy, God, give me happiness, God, give me these things because I think they will give me happiness. Swamiji says, pray with joy. And the prayer also has this affirmation. It includes that you are abundantly rich because you are a child of God. So you pray with joy. You meet joy halfway. So you don't think that other people, other things, other circumstances, another job, a shift in the house will make you happy. You will say to yourself that I am joyful right now. And then whatever happens as a flow in my life, I am willing to accept it just as it is. And that then it brings us to the next step where we say, whatever comes of itself, let it come. So unless we develop, all these attitudes, how are we going to be filled with joy? And one important factor in developing contentment is the company that we are in. The company is so important. If you are in the midst of people who are running the rat race and cannot stop themselves from running the rat race, then it's going to affect you. And you're also going to come and think, oh, maybe I can become a better singer, a better businessman, a better banker, a better educationist, and endless better things in your life. Rather than you should be pausing and asking yourself, what do I really want? And if you're in the company of truth seekers, in the company of spiritual people, then you will also want to seek the truth. And this is the kind of atmosphere that Ananda communities or Ananda village provides. There is a nurturing of a sense of fulfillment, a sense of satisfaction, a sense of contentment. And once we are living in such communities, in such environments, and we are getting the peace of living this life, then automatically we are not going to go out into the world and grab things, because we already have the peace that we were seeking in our life. And that's why, why is contentment called the supreme virtue? So we know contentment or santosha is one of the niyamas, the second step of the Patanjali's Ashtanga Yoga. And what are the other five? Let's just quickly discuss your level 2 syllabus. And so what the niyamas are: cleanliness, contentment, austerity, introspection, and devotion. Now, before you can practice this, there are certain don'ts that you need to practice, which is the yamas. And what are these? These are non-violence, non-lying, non-stealing, non-greed, and non-sensuality. Now, make this simple observation. If you are contented in yourself, if you are satisfied, whole, and happy in yourself, then would you need to practice any of the things like greed, stealing, lying, sensuality, or violence? No. So if you are contented in yourself, you are automatically satisfying all the yamas in a way. And another thing that is happening is the practice of contentment is taking you towards a state of even-mindedness. And why do we need to be even-minded? Because let us remember that right now we are in a state of duality, always jumping from excitement to sorrow. And unless we bring our state of mind to an even-minded state, how are we going to progress towards chitta vritti nirodha? If we want to be one with God, then we have to have chitta vritti nirodha, means neutralization of all vortices. And even-mindedness is the best way to come close to chitta vritti nirodha. And santosha or contentment is the easiest and the best way to go towards even-mindedness. And considering all of this, contentment is considered as the supreme or the highest virtue. And what happens when we are able to practice contentment in our life? It is said that the perfection is in contentment is that you are able to perceive the joy of every atom of the universe. Once you are even-minded in yourself, once you are trying to transcend the little ego, then automatically your consciousness is expanding into your higher self or your Atmic self. And it is the nature of the Atmic self or your true self, or its nature is bliss. Therefore, you touch the source of the fountain of bliss in your being. And all of this can be easily achieved if we practice what our Guru has told us. He has given us so many teachings and techniques. If we were to practice as promised by Master, if we were to practice even 1/100th of what he has taught us, we are going to find God in this life. And finding God is the true purpose of life. And why do we say it is the true purpose of life? Because we just said that we want all want to be happy and unconditionally happy and everlastingly happy. So that happiness, the joy is God. So finding joy or finding God is the purpose of our existence. Material things, people, and circumstances cannot give us that lasting fulfillment. Why? Because they in themselves are incomplete. So how can an addition of an incomplete thing to you give you completion? It cannot. Therefore, we must come back to our own inner self and find that the source of joy within ourselves which exists, because it is our nature. Satchidananda is our own existence, consciousness, bliss, and ever new and available all the time at all places. So let us pause ourselves from this outward turning energy and worldly things and running the rat race. Let us pause and first ask ourselves, what is it that we want? And since we want happiness, let us then turn inside, knowing that the source of all happiness is within us. So friends, I will end today's satsang by reading out from the Gita and a few lines from Master. The Gita says, this is chapter 4, verse 22. The man of action is free from karma, who receives with contentment whatever befalls him, who is poised above the dualities, who is devoid of envy or enmity, and he looks equally on gain and loss. Paramhansa Yogananda ji says, the wise man sees spirit everywhere, devoid of longings for self and of any will to gratify selfish desire. He is content to receive whatever comes naturally for fulfilling the needs of his body, mind, and soul. By contentment, a yogi displays his faith in the Lord's power to direct all happenings to a final good. Master says, joy and God are one. You are immortal, endowed with eternal joy. Know this and be free. Om. Let us quickly share the blessings that we have received with souls everywhere. Let us pray together. Divine Mother, thou art omnipresent. Thou art in all thy children. Manifest thy healing presence in all bodies, all minds, and all souls. May all be filled with thy joy, my Lord. Om. 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 Divine Mother, great Gurus, may thy love shine forever on the sanctuary of our devotion, and may we be able to awaken thy love in all true hearts. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti.